With the Arcane's rework coming to consoles very soon, and the fact that farming said rewards it's a lot easier now with them being Eidolon drops, I think it's appropriate to take a look into what are these enhancements, how do they work, where can you get them, and shine a spotlight on some of the ones I consider to be the most relevant. In this video we'll be going over the Warframe Arcanes, leaving the Operator and Saw ones for another time. That being said, let's begin. I'm Deuce and thanks in advance for watching. First and foremost, an Arcane, it's a special enhancement that you can place on your Warframe, Saw, Operator or Amp. These process will become available upon reaching Mastery Rank 5. These Arcanes have 4 ranks going from 0 to 3, and the higher the rank, the stronger the effects from the Arcane in question. To rank up an Arcane you need copies of it, a total of 10 if you want to maximize it. You can also install 2 sets of the same Arcane on the same Warframe or configuration. For that you will need 20 instead of 10, since you can't use the same set twice. This is used mostly as a way to obtain the enhancements provided twice or to increase chances for said enhancement to trigger. You can get your hands on these Arcanes in the Plains of Eidolon, specifically hunting the Eidolons themselves. Terry, Gary and Harry have their own Arcane drops, which also line up to a rarity scale similar to mods. There are common, uncommon, rare and legendary. Of course, the rarer the Arcane, the harder it will be to obtain. On that same line, capturing the Eidolons instead of outright killing them will make more and rare Arcanes available for dropping. Every Eidolon will give you 1 Arcane once you kill it or capture it, so you can get 3 Arcanes in a single full hunt. Another thing on the Arcane subject is the fact that it has several traits. Understanding those helps a lot when learning how they work. First of all, in order to activate an enhancement, you need to fulfill a condition. This condition goes from getting hurt all the way to picking energy orbs or wall latching. Once that condition has been cleared, for instance, deal damage, the Arcane will then have an activation chance, going from 10% and lower to 100%. Of course, every Arcane has its own unique effects, and some have duration or range, and these stats will increase as you rank up the Arcane in question. Also of note, once maxed, a Warframe Arcane will grant you an extra revive. Now that we know what is an Arcane, where to find them and how do they work, it's time to see which of them is more important, those we need to keep an eye out for. So let's jump right in. Please bear in mind that the stats I'm about to go through are those corresponding to the max values from the specific Arcane. We begin with Arcane Avenger. Its trigger is to receive damage. This will give us a 14% chance to increase our critical chance by 30% for 8 seconds. It's available by killing or capturing a Hydralist, and it's a rare drop. Avenger is ideal for a lot of things, including critical and hybrid builds. A full set does wonders for the new core, and its effects can benefit Warframe abilities that deal some sort of critical. And it also affects Arcwing, not that you would need it, but it's there nonetheless. Next up we have Arcane Awakening. Its trigger is to reload, which will give us a 40% chance to increase our secondary weapon damage by 100% for 16 seconds. It's available by killing or capturing a Gauntulist, and it's an uncommon drop. Any secondary will see benefits from this, especially those that have a fast reload like the Axtilator Prime or the Akbolto Prime. My recommendation for this one is to run it on a dual wielding setup, thus increasing the punch of that secondary you carry alongside your glaive. And now let's take a look at Arcane Barrier. Its trigger is to receive damage. This will give us a 4% chance to completely regenerate our shields. Available only by capturing the Hydralist, and it's a legendary drop. The activation percentage may seem low, but the frequency in which our Warframe receives damage is very high, thus making the Arcane's effect a lot more common than many would think. Harrow is a Warframe that greatly benefits from it due to how its abilities are structured, but other frames with high shield values could see use from it. Coming up, it's Arcane Energized, a very popular entry. Its trigger is to pick an energy orb. This will give us a 40% chance to receive 100 energy from that orb, affecting allies as well within a 20-meter radius. Available only by capturing the Hydralist, and it's a legendary drop. Ideal for minimum efficiency builds and for those Warframes that have constant energy draining abilities such as Equinox or Valkyr. Noteworthy fact is that the mod Equilibrium won't increase your chances for triggering Arcane Energized, since it only works with blue orbs. It's the turn for Arcane Fury. Its trigger is to cause a critical hit. This will give us a 40% chance to increase our melee damage by 120% for 12 seconds. It's available by killing or capturing a Hydralist, and it's a rare drop. Another melee arcane that will work pretty much anywhere as long as it can crit reliably. Spin to win Atarax and Bleed hybrid builds see the most benefits out of this particular arcane enhancement. Let's take a look at Arcane Grace. Its trigger is to receive damage. This will give us a 6% chance to regenerate 4% of our total health per second over 6 seconds. It's available only by capturing the Hydralist, and it's a legendary drop. Its percentages may seem low, but just like with Arcane Barrier, the frequency in which a Warframe is damaged will trigger its effects very often. This arcane, when combined with a Defy Wukong, equals immortality, but beware that it won't activate when using abilities such as Iron Skin. Next on this list is Arcane Guardian, one of my favorites. Its trigger is to receive damage. This will give us a 20% chance to obtain an additive 600 armor bonus for 20 seconds. It's available by killing or capturing the Gauntlet, and it's an uncommon drop. A very versatile arcane, since it can be used to turn a tank frame into a super tank, like with the Shield of Shadows Necros, or used to great effects in squishy warframes like Banshee, something particularly useful now that the Shadow Step is gone. This arcane enhancement is one that, thanks to its trigger, will always be there when you need it the most. Moving on, here's Arcane Precision. Its trigger is getting headshots. This will give us an 80% chance to increase our secondary weapon damage by 120% for 8 seconds. Available by killing or capturing the Gauntlet, and it's a rare drop. The curious thing about it is the fact that even though its trigger takes substantially more skill, its effect lasts for half of that from Arcane Awakening. Not only that, said effect only adds an extra 20% in damage, so you might think of it as inferior. In the end, it's all about that ability to land headshots, but in my opinion, if you're running with the dual Toxicist or the Nail, this arcane is right up your alley. Now let's take a look at Arcane Rage. Its trigger are headshots as well. This will give us a 10% chance to increase the damage of primary weapons by 120% for 16 seconds. Available by killing or capturing the Hydralist, it's a rare drop. Same concept as with Precision, but applied to primary weapons. The catch here is in its triggering chance, which is very low. This can be mitigated by using a high fire rate weapon such as the Baza, but my recommendation is the Synapse, since aside from being an absolute monster, it deals an extra 50% damage on headshots. So this added bonus encourages this playstyle, not to mention it's pinpoint accurate. Our next arcane is Arcane Strike. Its trigger is to hit an enemy, which will give us a 10% chance to increase our melee weapon's attack speed by 40% for 12 seconds. Available by killing or capturing the Gauntlet, and it's an uncommon drop. This arcane will be useful on high-range, low-speed melee weapons such as the Jakitag or the Akatriton, since the added bonus in speed is something we could hardly take advantage of with a fast melee, but in the case of a slow one could be the difference between a cumbersome, sluggish mess and an efficient insta-delete monster. The thing here is getting the arcane to trigger. When that happens, the rest is history. Time for some deceit with Arcane Trickery, another of my personal favorites. Its trigger is to do a finisher. This will give us a 10% chance to become invisible for 20 seconds. Available by killing or capturing the Hydralist, it's an uncommon drop. Also known as the Arcane Ash, since its effects can be triggered through Bladestorm. With the recent changes, this allows for a zero duration build emphasizing on Ash's 4th for devastating effects, with the added bonus of invisibility in the process, which cheapens Bladestorm, enabling a very cool synergy. As a personal note, using 2 sets of this arcane instead of 1, it's the difference between sporadic triggers and some form of consistency. Another frame that benefits from Arcane Trickery is an Arrows, because it adds an extra layer of survivability and takes advantage of the constant finishing. Almost at the end, we have Arcane Ultimatum. Similar to Trickery, its trigger is to perform a finisher. This will give us a 100% chance to obtain an additive 600 armor bonus for 20 seconds. Available only by capturing the Gauntlet, weirdly enough, it's a rare drop with a legendary drop chance. This is Arcane Guardian's brother, and if there's one thing to consider is its trigger chance of 100%. We can use it with Ash or Inaros, Equinox, Ivara, or any weapon that can consistently land finishers like the Destreza. The idea here is similar as with Arcane Guardian. Getting that armor buff will allow a tank warframe to tank even better, or in the case of a squishy frame to gain a much needed survivability boost. Lastly, we have Arcane Victory. Its trigger is getting headshots, which in turn will give us an 8% chance to regenerate our health by 2% of its maximum value per second for 8 seconds. Available only by capturing the terror list, and again, this is an uncommon arcane with a drop chance of a legendary. Talk about consistency. Similar to Arcane Grace, but overall less powerful and also less reliable since its trigger is much harder to fulfill. Still, this type of health regen arcanes are useful just about anywhere, but in the case of this one in particular, I'd recommend to use it on a Warframe like Chroma, since it's a weapon specialist wrapped around a tank. If you're good at headshots, this arcane could add regeneration to the long list of things Chroma could do. And these are the Warframe Arcanes I consider to be the most relevant. For my part, this is all for today. If you enjoyed the video or you found it interesting, please consider giving it a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more Warframe content and follow me on Twitter to keep up to date with everything. Hope you found this useful. Again, thank you very much for watching. Whatever you are, have an amazing day. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.